What up, world? We're back. We're not in Paris, but we certainly wish we were. It is the CHGO Sky Podcast, part of the CHGO Sports and ALLCITY Sports Networks. I am Chris Pennant. This is Stephen PridGeon-Garner, the best X's and O's man this side of the Missouri River. We're going even further west this time. And he is your favorite flag football quarterback's absolute favorite flag football quarterback, the new Steve McNair, Jim Kelly. I can't think of anything in the round. I'm going to stop. So, Stephen, what's good, man? How you feel?
I'm blessed, my guy. How you doing?
As we said in the intro, I am dealing with some health issues that make getting old feel like I'm getting even older. But we're here. It warms my heart to be watching basketball and seeing these athletes flying around while I am sitting on the couch. So I'm making it.
I hear that. I definitely hear that. Hopefully the basketballs keep you entertained in this little intermission we got with the W side of things.
Oh, no doubt. And I think that's the best thing about it. We got our man Lawrence Benedetto Law on the quick draw with us on the Wheels of Steel today. Lawrence, thank you for taking the time to produce, taking your time off for making beats for the upcoming rap beef. I know that you would be doing that. There'll be Noah Lyles versus Josh Hart, in case anybody was wondering. That's going to be the next rap beef. But we got Olympic basketball, man. Honestly, the basketball's been very good in both formats and in both genders. But this is the CHGO Sky Podcast, so we got to talk about women's basketball. The USA undefeated in pool play, a blowout win against Japan, and honestly a very good game against Belgium, probably their closest game, and one that I saw some of, and I'm watching the replay right now. But they go and take on Nigeria in quarterfinal action. It should be later this afternoon. Stephen, I know you've been watching this fervently, not just the Olympics, since the exhibition. For the women's 5-on-5 team, what stood out to you?
I've been consistently impressed with how well they've just figured it out on a game-by-game basis. So they've obviously 3 games into true Olympic play where things or implications are direct to your record in terms of standing for the medals. They've gone against Japan, the Belgian national team, and then most recently they went up against Germany. All 3 of those teams extremely unique from each other, extremely different from each other, and they posed different styles of threats to the style of play and everything going on in between the 4 lines. And it's been fun to watch Cheryl Reeve toggle through rotations, player matchups, player tandems, lineup combinations, like all of those little things, and just ultimately figuring out what works best to get the job done in any particular game. Now, mind you, Team USA is at an extreme disadvantage in terms of the continuity, in terms of how much time these players have even spent together in terms of days compared to other teams with their national teams. All of these things are up against them, and they just have consistently bought into the roles that Cheryl needs them to play for this particular team to work and for this team to win on a game-by-game basis. And we've seen them kind of toggle through multiple things, sometimes going with 3 bigs on the floor, sometimes going with 3 guards on the floor, sometimes marrying the 2 and kind of alternating back and forth over the course of the 40-minute game. We've been seeing Chelsea Gray not play for a majority of a second half at times in lieu of just not having the efficiency and impact on the game needed, but seeing other players be able to step up, like Alyssa Thomas coming in off the bench as a super duper sub. Like it's like little instances like that. You could talk about Jackie Young in the most recent game against Germany, coming in and pouring in 19 points, knocking down, I believe, 3 or 4 attempts from deep. Just doing little things like that and seeing players just step up has been really fun. I can go on for a whole lot longer than that, but that's at the surface level a bit of what's really piqued my interest is just this team's ability to address what the game is desiring from them to win.
And I like that because I think with women's sports in the U.S., when I'm talking about basketball and soccer or football, the talent level you expect it to be so high because of what we've seen and what we've known with their records over the past few Olympiads the past few years. The women's basketball team on a 50-plus game winning streak.
And for the record, 7 straight gold medals going for the 8th. To put it in context for anybody that was not aware yet.
Like, it was the only game that they've lost since I think they lost one to Oregon when Sabrina and Ruthie were there. There was the game in the All-Star game this year when they lost to the WNBA All-Stars. But I like what you're saying there, because I think people would assume, oh, well, talent wins out. We've seen in that not be the case. I know for younger viewers might not remember, but that 2004 men's team that lost in Australia or Athens, and ended up getting the bronze medal that year, which kicked off the Redeem team and all of that. And I think really put a refocus on basketball for the U.S. Olympic Committee. But with this team, they do have a lot of talent. That's not to be denied. But Belgium was up on them in that first quarter of their game, and they were playing a style that was hard to contend with. A lot of off-ball movement, Emma Mieseman screening and rescreening, her ability to pass, Julie Van Loo and her ability to move without the ball and hit from deep was really giving the U.S. some problems. And Belgium was a tough team. Belgium played very, very tough in a game where the referees were not calling. I honestly, quick sidebar, I like the refereeing in this Olympics. They're not as quick with the whistle, and I really think that that's a positive for women's ball. But going back to the tactics, the U.S. started with their typical starting 5, and then they brought in Brittany Griner and Alyssa Thomas off the bench. And when you think about that with either Napheesa Kahleah or Breanna Stewart, you have 3 of the best defensive players in the league. And then with Breanna Stewart, somebody who is near impossible to guard one-on-one on the other end. So they really turned from a kind of post-up two-player or one-on-one team in the first quarter to a fast-breaking defensive transition team in the second quarter, and that's when they took their lead. And they have the ability, as you said, to not just marry different kinds of styles, but seamlessly imbue those styles within one another. They can play 5 out, but then also play 4 out, 1 in. When they have Asia or BG on the floor, they could play 3-guard lineup and get up and down. They can isolate one side of the floor on defense. It's been really amazing to see what this team has put together.
Yeah, I think you tackled through a handful of the things that really stood out to me with this team. And if you speak specifically to individual players, if it wasn't already understood prior to the start of Olympic play, Asia Wilson is just the best basketball player in the absolute world right now.
You see what number she's wearing?
Yes. It's not a coincidence. You see the impact that she has when she's on the floor. Like, they even have B-roll of slow down plays where she's got the ball and she's in alignment in the same line of sight as the opposing team's bench. And everybody's just looking at her like this spectacle on the court. They're admiring her drip from the one-legged sleeve, of course, and the braids, to the sleeve, to the wristbands, to the style of play, to how she's just undeniable. Like, she's her. She's her. I think that's the best way to kind of encapsulate it without being too long-winded. Asia's just her. And that's a problem for everybody to deal with, because you have her and then you have a ton of other players that can also absolutely claim the adage of being her. Breanna Stewart, right next to her, has been just a wrecking ball. And shout out to the homie Erica, who co-hosts the PHNX Mercury podcast with me. We've been talking about how Stewie's ridiculous. She's just limitless, not unlike Asia, but they also both go about how they stamp their impact on the game in such unique ways that it never feels redundant. And the fact that you can have those 2 players on the floor along with Napheesa Kahleah, along with Alyssa Thomas, along with Brittany Griner, that's just entirely too much off of stature alone. But if not only off of stature, also off of the skill compiled between those 5 players. that consistently allows Cheryl Reeve to dictate with whatever lineups it is she desires to toggle through over the course of 40 minutes in Olympic play. And that ultimately is just too much for most teams to deal with. The biggest team that they've gone up against so far in Olympic play has been the Belgian national team. And we saw what there's the skill within the size that Team USA has was able to ultimately kind of dictate to them with. You talked about Emma Miesemann. Anybody that's been following us knows how just undervalued Emma is in terms of the skill and the basketball player she is with her IQ and her feel for the game, her processing, all of those fun things. She even had moments where she was dominating, and then it ultimately got trumped by just Team USA being able to toggle through multiple matchups. She's being guarded by Asia, by BG, by Stewie, by Alyssa, by Fee. It's just too much. It gets to be too much. And I had the pleasure of speaking with Cheryl Reeve at All-Star break. And I asked her, what does she feel in terms of advantages that they can create is the biggest advantage that she feels like they have over the rest of the field in terms of Olympic play. And she kind of rattled off a couple of different things, but she ultimately landed home on emphasizing depth and the fact that they have versatility to cycle through multiple lineup renditions, lineup combinations of players, and ultimately just kind of, like I said, figure it out. And that's something she's leaned heavily into. Breanna Griner's been an impact player, and she hasn't even played that much in terms of a volume of minutes because of the abundance of players that Cheryl can, like I said, toggle through over the course of games. You can say the same thing about Jackie Young and Kahleah Copper not even playing that many minutes over the course of Olympic play as well. Jewel Lloyd by the same extent as well. Like, it's just so much for her to, in terms of the deck of cards that she has to play. Ultimately, somebody's going to always get the short end of the stick, but the fact that everybody's bought in and you don't see anybody sulking or complaining about it leads me to believe that they're very much en route to their 8th consecutive gold medal.
I can't say any different. I think we've seen that on both sides of the bracket in terms of the gender men's and women's teams. Jason Tatum talking about how he didn't play against Serbia and how it was a humbling experience, but he didn't. I think the key word there is a humbling experience. It wasn't anything that he was talking about is like, I feel like I can crack this lineup with these guys. Something that, again, you might have heard in 2004 when it was just a collection of players rather than a team. And when you see that, when you see Kahleah Copper not getting in against Belgium, when you see Jackie Young playing limited minutes, when you see Diana Taurasi, even at her age where she's still an effective player, playing limited minutes, but still everybody's bought into the idea that they're trying to win a gold medal and win the gold medal decisively. And it's something that you can do when I got the Belgium game on now, and it's Asia, Alyssa, Jackie, Sabrina, and Stewie on the floor, which is a lineup that can shoot from the outside, shoot from the mid-range, shoot from close in, and clean up the backboards on the offensive glass. And that's it's just Belgium they could not contend with that with the lineup that they have. And that's not a fault of them. It's just there's so much depth that is available to this team. And I think that answers the unsaid question that we will not go back into that we heard for the 2-3 months before the Olympics. There's just a complete team already, and it's so difficult to guard them in pretty much any place on the floor, offensively or defensively. But that's why it's fun. I think we're not seeing the point where teams are catching up with them yet, but we're seeing the point where teams around the world are getting close, and it's not just going to be wipeouts, washouts, blowouts. The Nigerian quarterfinal is going to be interesting. I'm excited to watch that. Both of the African teams that have made the brackets in the men's and women's side, Nigeria for the women, South Sudan for the men's, I'm excited to see both of them play because I think they surprised a lot of people, and they have that same cohesion where they might not have the same depth, they might not have the same level of talent, but they're all playing together and for each other. And so this U.S.-Nigeria quarterfinal is going to be absolutely fun. It's going to be a lot of fun.
It is, and we could definitely dive into a whole lot more, but I think we got to pay the bills at this little timestamp.
It is. It's time to pay some bills. So once again, we appreciate you coming on with us for this somewhat of a surprise edition of the CHGO Sky Show. And as always, even on days like today where it's pretty cool in Chicagoland, sometimes you want to lay back and choose chill. Sometimes you pass the age of 35 and the things that you could do once are not so easy to do again, and you throw your back out playing a game that you've played your entire life. And in those times where it's hard to stand, it's hard to sit, it's easy to chill. And the best way to chill is with Coors Light. You know that it's cold when the Rocky Mountains are blue. LL Cool J is pulling up to you in the train saying, I need love, I need a girl, mama's going to knock you out, all of that. And that's when you pull out the silver bullet, crack open the top, and chill back. The CHGO Sky season is coming back in just a couple of weeks, which means you're going to have to deal with those fans from the next state over and the next state Northwest. And those are the times where you want to hit the concession stand at Wintrust Arena and choose chill. And as always, if you go to instacart.com/CHGO Dunk, you can get a special deal and get Coors Light delivered direct to your door. Again, that is instacart.com/CHGO Dunk. Do not neglect that deal because it is a fantastic one. So choose chill, get Coors Light. Celebrate responsibly with Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. And this is my favorite read. Again, it's cool today. It's overcast, but you want to look cool, you always got to go to Shady Rays. Choose the sunglasses rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. You can't see him right now, but Lawrence is wearing a pair right now. You know why you can't see him? Because he's too cool. He's too cool for you to get an eye on him. He's the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. You can't even see him. He's that good.
That was the perfect time for the John Cena quote, but I'll leave that alone.
You're right. You're right. They have hundreds of options to choose from. So if you want that Carolina blue like Steven's got behind him, if you want that CHGO Sky blue and gold, then you can get those too. They probably have a style in all of your favorite team's colors. I like to wear Shady Rays when I'm outside, whether I'm playing softball, whether I'm riding my bike, whether I'm at the beach. I love to wear Shady Rays because sometimes the sunglasses make the man rather than the man making the shades. And if you don't like them, you can exchange them for a new pair, return them worry-free within 30 days. There's absolutely no risk when you shop. And every pair that you buy is backed by lost or broken replacement. So if your sunglasses get snapped, go to Shady Rays, get another pair. And exclusively for our listeners, we're giving out our best deal of the season from Shady Rays. Head to shadyrays.com and use the code CHGO for 35% off polarized sunglasses. That's 35% what? Off polarized sunglasses. So try it for yourself. The shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people and worn by our own Lawrence Benedetto. Shady Rays. Seriously, Lawrence is wearing some sunglasses. He can't come on the screen because your computer was shut down. It'd be just too much for the bandwidth, processing power, all that. I want to look, see. I hope everybody reset your computer and tune back in.
Sorry,
It'll
man.
Be okay.
Control right. Delete, y'all.
We didn't get a chance to talk about 3-on-3, but our homie Erica Day did say the 3-on-3 refs could catch these hands. I've only gotten to see a couple of games. I did actually catch Azerbaijan and Tiffany Hayes playing a few games, and 3-on-3 basketball is fun to see because that's how we all start out playing. When you hoop, you cut the court in half. If you can't get a full 5-on-5, you get the 3-on-3, either you go straight up or you take it back to the 3-point line. So it's fun to see. Skeeter says, sad effort by the women's 3-on-3 Olympic team. Thanks for coming in, Skeeter. Yeah, it's
I can't exactly agree with that. I definitely can't agree with that one. Nah, that injury bill that they were handed before Olympic play even started with Cameron Breen going down and them having to scramble and ultimately put Dearica Hamby in place of her. That's just too much. And the fact that they were still able to she played extremely well, yes. Also Ryan Howard being injured for a majority of the time leading up to the Olympics. On top of that, like there's little things like that. The fact that they even came away with a medal placing, they did their job. Obviously, as a gold standard with everything basketball related coming from the United States naturally, but you have to apply the context there. They did their thing.
Great analysis, man. It's like you have a lot of good players. You have a lot of very good players. And I think it's evidenced in the fact that they played Spain in pool play. It was either pool play or the play-in, and then played them in the quarterfinals again, and they won the first one and lost by 2. And I think they won that first one by 8 and then lost by 2. There's a lot of good teams. That's what we're talking about when you're talking about the rest of the world catching up to the United States. And in 3-on-3, it's magnified because the playing surface is smaller. You operate in, I think, a quicker time frame just because plays only stop for fouls or out of bounds or timeouts. And so you have those players like Ryan Howard, who you said has been injured for a good bit of this season, De'Erica Hamby, who didn't necessarily expect to play, and Hailey Van Lith, who, unlike what we've seen from the U.S. since the early 90s, is still in college. And honestly, Hailey has played pretty well too, considering she's playing with mainly pros on her team and players who have been veterans in the professional ranks for at least a few years. I was pleasantly surprised by what I saw from Hailey Van Lith, considering the up and down time she's had since leaving Louisville. So I can't fault them for getting a bronze medal. Spain has played well. Germany is always going to have a solid team, well-coached team. And Germany honestly has a lot of stretch big types who can score inside and outside. And that's going to be tough for the team that they've assembled to defend against. So you just, like Stephen said, you got to take the context with it.
Yeah, exactly. And just in kind of assessing the 3x3 team and just really kind of assessing going forward, I just had a thought that came to mind at the tail end of last week, and I would definitely love to see everybody in the comments. First of all, we appreciate y'all for tapping in with us. Definitely leave a thumbs up for us if you're watching on YouTube. Just a random straight thought of mine that I wanted to let off. I would absolutely love to see Kennedy Carter go through all of the measures needed to be eligible for the next upcoming Olympics, and really tap in with the FIBA 3x3 circuit with Team USA, because I feel like she is the perfect type of guard to have in this context. She already does a great job of working in the confines of the lack of spacing that we've spoken to with the CHGO Sky as it is in 5-on-5. Guess what? If you take away 2 players, that gives that much more space for somebody like Kennedy Carter to drive through every lane that she desires, whenever she desires to, and however she desires to. And I also think that she's really good defending in space as well. And I think her style of play would be perfect if, with most bigs, like you talked about in the 3x3 context, most bigs playing in 3x3 can space the floor. And then you're going to have another shooter on the floor with you. So if you have somebody that's just quite literally cannot be stayed in front of defensively, somebody's going to have to help if they can. And if they do, that's going to be wide open jump shots for everybody on the court that's sharing the court with Kennedy. I feel like there's no better guard for the 3x3 context than Kennedy to have the ball consistently in her hands. And I feel like that's also a pace of play that she would very much enjoy. And just generally speaking, her dynamic on both ends of the floor is, it just doesn't get more conducive than having her on the team. And I would love to see it for her to represent the country and for the country to have such a prolific basketball player with the one-on-one style of play that she comes with, to just really put forth that brand of basketball on that specific stage and really let her dominate.
I love it from the context of the aesthetics and the deeper meaning. Like, we're talking about Kennedy Carter, who, the person she is from Texas, the career that she's had, the career arc she's had. Imagine going from, a training camp contract this year to being on the Olympic team 4 years from now. What that would not do, there's, confidence is one thing. What that does for a person's psyche, their memory, their belief in themselves, and just to be able to, when you, at a certain time, when you can't play anymore, you can come back and say, this is what happened to me. I stuck it out. I persevered. I matured, and I made the Olympic team. And, if you win a gold, you win a silver, you win a bronze, you win a medal, what have you. Because I agree. I think that she would be, I was trying to think when you said the perfect player, I was trying to think, is there anybody who I could think of who might be better that I've either seen or we haven't seen on the 3-on-3 team. Because who was it? Kelsey Plum the last time out, who just was
Kelsey
smoking
Plum,
everybody.
It was Kelsey, Jackie, De'Erica, and I was it Meg Gustafson with them. I can't remember who the fourth player was with them.
I think you're right.
Yeah, so obviously 3 of those players being on the Aces at the same time was ridiculous. And then you throw Megan Gustafson, who now full circle is playing with them on top of that.
Right.
Correct. Yeah.
And when you think about that, like Megan Gustafson had a similar, not necessarily similar career trajectory, but she was the player at Iowa before Caitlin Clark came in.
Yep.
Came in the league and was fighting to keep a roster spot, had to change her approach to the game, and now she's sticking. You know, she's not a rotational player in the main rotation, but she has commanded a roster spot wherever she's gone, and teams want to have her around. And you're seeing something with Kennedy, who I think gets a higher usage rate for sure. But think about that. Like, her career is going to be undeniable anyway, no matter if the Sky end up signing her to an extension or not. But you're going to see her, if she gets on the Olympic team, be a player that not only here, but other people around the world, wherever they see her, they're going to be like, man, I didn't even know who Kennedy Carter was. And that's going to be, I think, one of those times where you see, like, oh, I want to go run outside. I want to do what she just did. How do you do that crossover? Like, imagine her on the Olympic cameras, all of that. All of that.
She there's few players that have this it about them to where they become like culture pillars, to where they have a different type of reach that you can't teach. It doesn't matter if you pub a player in the public eye profusely, they will never have the same type of reach that certain players are. I think naturally Allen Iverson was a player that had that type of reach on the men's side of basketball to where it just can't be replicated. I think Kennedy has that same type of it about her as well. And naturally, if you're speaking to the women's side of things, Asia certainly has that in spades. Yep. And after Asia, I feel like there's no better kind of player that has that type of reach. It's just different than Kennedy Carter. And the fact that she's on this quote unquote redemption path this season, to where people are really starting to acknowledge her for the prolific, unique talent that she is on the basketball court, rather than anything else, I think is important. And I think the next go around for the Olympics would be the perfect time for her to continue to tap into that. And who knows, by then, if she continues on this trajectory, she should be a 3-time All-Star going into the next Olympic trials, with her 4th coming that same year. And hopefully she garners is actually interested in, and they actually are intrigued by having her with Team USA to put forth that, because naturally there's going to be more players. There's we've talked about it before, a litany of different styles of players coming into the league over the next handful of seasons. But I would just love to see Kennedy tapping into the FIBA circuit with 3x3, and really getting her name established in that mix going into the next upcoming Olympics. I think it just makes entirely too much sense for her, for the team, and just for how 3x3 is really taking steps in terms of becoming a big piece in basketball. A lot of countries are having leagues established now. Kids are playing in 3x3 leagues. They have the 5x5 as well, but they're also playing in 3x3 leagues. And naturally, you also have more professional leagues that are 3x3 as well. In that context of basketball, it just makes entirely too much sense for her.
Yeah, and she'll only be 29 when the Olympics comes through the next time around. And guess what? It's going to be in LA. So you not only get the context of, I've said context like 6 times, but I don't care. You not only get the moment where if you have Kennedy on the 3x3 team, where did she play in some part of her career? Sparks. LA is honestly, for me, just personally for me, that's one of the marquee landmark places in sports history, with the LA Coliseum. And I don't think they would have it there, but you talk about LA with the Drew League, with Venice Beach and what that means, and white men can't jump. It's not the Mecca of basketball because we're sitting in that right now, but it is a special place to play ball. And if you get that, that would be so great. If they got the Olympics 3-on-3 tournament at that Venice Beach courts out by the skate park, and you get Kennedy rock and rolling over there, that would be special, man. It would be so much fun to see. And I'm going to be at the Olympics. I said that 10 years ago when I found out it was going to be in LA. So I will be front and center no matter what. But if I get to watch Kennedy, like David Bresson said, if it's Kennedy, Arike, and insert big here, woo, that's going to be tough to match.
Yeah, and that's the other big thing. So I just don't know that Arike in particular would be interested in the 3x3 variant for representing the country. Hopefully whatever it is that's been the disconnect that's kept her from the Olympics the last 2 go-arounds would be addressed going into this next go-around. But I do feel like the type of star that Kennedy is also aligns with bringing more attention to the 3x3 game and the draw that comes with, watching her play basketball. I just feel like it just makes entirely too much sense for her to not be on the team going into the next go-around. Like I said, it's all contingent upon if she actually wants to, which I haven't had any conversations with her about. I think that is something that next time I do get a chance to speak with her, though, I will ask her just to kind of gauge her interest on it, see if it's ever even crossed her mind, and how if she can like picture herself playing in that type of context of basketball. Because she is a hoop junkie. She's always watching basketball. So I would really love to just kind of like have like a quick conversation and just kind of pick her brain on that. But yeah, I would love to see that for her. I would love to see her on the team for the team and just to take the rapidly evolving brand of basketball in 3x3 context, taking it to another level. And I think she would generate more interest from more players coming after her as well, to want to have like not just saying that it's like the second fiddle to 5-on-5. Like, no, I actually want to be a part of the 3x3 team because I feel like it's friendly to my style of play. And I feel like it's something that I can really help as well. And naturally, it's another opportunity to represent your country, which is the highest of the highs in terms of where you can reach in terms of your athletic career.
No doubt. We got more after this with Sunnyside Cannabis. Our friends at Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary are here to elevate your summer. They're your home for judgment-free cannabis shopping. They have a crazy selection with over 100 different strains to choose from. Online ordering and in-store pickup, whether you're in Chicago, whether you're in Champaign, whether you're as far north as South Beloit, then Sunnyside has a location for you. And you can check the nearest store for you for expert guidance from their staff or select from quality lines like Cresco, Floracal, the Good News Tea Time Disposable Vape, which you can use at the CHGO Cookout Classic that's coming up soon. And even though Lollapalooza is past, it's still festival season here. We've got all the free concerts at Millennium Park. There's Rito Fest. There's Jazz Fest, Blues Fest still to come. And so all of those are available if you want to cool out and relax on the grass at Ravinia, or whether you're on the beach at Northerly Island, you can check out Sunnyside. Their free spirit vapes and cartridges, all new from Good News. And of course, we got a deal for you. So you can go to sunnyside.shop for bright buys every single day, including 50% off your first 3 online purchases where you use that promo code HICHGO at the checkout to qualify. Again, that's HICHGO at checkout for 50% off your first 3 online purchases. Exclusions do apply, but use that code. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary. Bright buys every single day. Only for ages 21 and over or Illinois medical card holders. Now, we said that the Chicago Cookout Classic, or the Kickoff Classic, is coming up soon. So join CHGO at Cog Hill number 2 out in the south suburbs on August 23rd for the 2nd annual Kickoff Classic presented by Circus Sports Illinois, Coors Light, Shady Rays, and Seltz Up. The package includes 18 holes and a golf cart, tee gifts for every single player. If that's too far in the future for you, CHGO is taking over the South Side, so join the boys Herb, Sean, and Vinny the Doob as the Sox take on the Cubs this Thursday, August 8th at the ballpark.
That's Friday.
South.
That's Friday.
That's Friday? Today's the 6th.
Yeah,
is it what?
It's a fireworks night, man.
Oh, it says August 8th. That must be August 9th then.
The full screen says the 9th. Yeah. And by the way, your White Sox could be going for their record-breaking 24th straight loss.
Lawrence, we were cool, man. Like, we were all good. I gave you the sunglasses shout out, and everything. Yeah, come out and watch the Sox go for a Major League Baseball record 24th loss in a row, but also hang out with the guys. Sean, Herb, and Vinny are some of the best guys, not just in our group, but talking baseball, talking sports, period. They'll meet up before the game, pregame, so you can meet the crew, catch the crosstime rivalry, cap off the night with fireworks. So get your tickets now at allchgo.com/events. And there's everything. You go to allchgo.com/events. If you can't make the London Bears trip, you can catch up with them in Phoenix to see them. Go head up with the Cardinals November 3rd. The Cubs crew is at Primetime Bar and Grill in Hickory Hills this week as the Cubs take on the Guardians. We already talked about the golf tournament. And for all of those who like the footy, CHGO is going to be taking over Soldier Field. My apologies. Soldiers Field when Inter Miami and Leo Messi come to town at the end of August for a tailgate meetup pregame and a Jason Derulo concert postgame. So everything is available to you at allchgo.com/events. If you become a diehard today, you get 20% off those events, merchandise for all the team, including the CHGO Sky, the members-only Discord where you can talk to me and Steven and get first look at all of the articles online at allchgo.com. So I don't know what you're waiting for. If you're not doing it right now, you're already too late. Go to allchgo.com/events right now. He said no. David said no negatives to Law. No, Law's persona non grata now. He had to throw that in there.
Come on, man.
Don't put what? Don't put your hand up like what's going on.
You know what? Like the Giggedies is saying I'm a Cubs fan. Who said I'm a Cubs fan? I'm just all I know is the clown show organization on the South Side should probably be relegated to minor league baseball at this point.
They should. They really should.
You know, that's on Jerry. That's all I'll say about that.
That's not the first time I heard that's on Jerry before, but I'm gonna leave that alone.
We got another Chris P. Shout out to the Chris P in the chat.
What up, Chris?
He said, "Let me get that D Wade jersey, bro." So, Steven, you got to set a price.
$500.
Hey, he might have it on hand, man. You got to be careful.
And that ain't my problem. He said set the price. We're gonna see about it.
All right, Chris P is $500, and this is not an auction. There's no bids, so you come up with the bread. Lawrence, we got to talk about our favorite Olympic moments so far. He's like, maybe it's out of his range. But could you bring up that Asia Wilson photo from the opening ceremonies? Because it's not my favorite moment, but this is one of my favorite moments. If you're on Instagram or Twitter or Threads, Asia was on one as soon as the boat hit the sand. We're going to skate to one song and one song only. And if y'all remember that Watch the Throne album, you know exactly what that song was. As you see her posted up with her compatriots on the basketball team, that Eiffel Tower photo, and of course, the Olympics rings glasses. I think that's Noah Lyles in that last photo that was like not ready for the camera flash.
That's you talking about an off guard. That's a real off guard.
I love stuff like that, man. But that photo right there, the one with the umbrella and the one, of course, with the Eiffel Tower in the background. This is one of the moments that really make me think, man, you know what? If I could go to a shooting club or archery, really work on my archery, then I want to be an Olympian, man. Like I want to get those Tommy Hilfiger jackets.
I think the thing I've enjoyed most is seeing the cross Olympic event interactions between just all of the athletes. So you already talked about Noah Lyles being with Asia. Seeing Sonny Lee with Diana Taurasi.
Yeah.
You could like all of the parents, the men coming through to support the women coming through to support the men. Seeing the 5-on-5 women's team come through and support the 3x3 team at the tail end of last week, seeing them all in the corner watching Ryan Howard, who's naturally going to eventually be on the 5-on-5 team, probably at the next go around. Just seeing like 7 or 8 of them just in the corner, all in with their cameras out, watching. There you go. There's another example there.
Yeah.
You got Jonathan Owens supporting Simone. seeing Snoop Dogg out there supporting everybody that's wearing the same colors as him. Like just these little moments, and just watching these people that are great in their respective professions go and support others and do so not just loudly but intentfully. I think Jewel Lloyd probably didn't miss a single 3x3 game. She was there at all of them with their wife, if I remember correctly. Like just those little things and seeing all of those interactions is always dope. Seeing Kahleah Copper fanning out by having LeBron in the background when she's taking a selfie. Like those little moments like that, seeing Asia and LeBron, for crying out loud, in the same picture, in the same lens is ridiculous. Seeing Brittany Griner smiling literally this entire 2.5 weeks now that the Olympic play has been going on has been fun to see. And it's just generally been fun. If I had to say anything outside of basketball, I think watching the gymnasts do their thing. So you got Sunny Lee, you got Jordan Childs, and then you got obviously Simone Biles. Greatness. I'm still trying to fathom how they can distort their bodies into these athletic positions on the fly, whether that be on the beam, whether that be on the floor, or anywhere in between. It's unfathomable. It really is. And even with the slow-mos and being able to see in detail how many times they spun and how many times they landed and hopped, or if they hopped at all after landing and just stuck the landing the way that Simone does so consistently. There's levels to athleticism, and I think sometimes when you watch so much basketball, you kind of get fixated on athleticism looking a certain way, and then you venture off and go and watch another sport, and you see what these women are doing, and you realize that this is just different. It's different. It's borderline not human to be watching them do this so consistently, and to not be dizzy, just get up and walk off like nothing happened, or go and like dance right after sticking the landing, after doing 15,000 flips within 90 seconds. Like, special. Salute to them, because that's something I can't even fathom doing, yet alone actually do.
That's the thing. When somebody asked, I was out with my girlfriend. I was out with Jenna on Friday night, and we were watching the Olympics. And she asked me, "It's like, if you could be an Olympian for one sport, what would it be?" I will say that I played some club handball here in Chicago, Northeastern Illinois. They have like a midnight. The guys come in and they play Olympic handball at the basketball court, and I tried that out. It was hard. There was way more running than I thought there was going to be. But they kind of posted me up in the middle like Chamberlain, and it was just like, okay, you're going to be here. If you get the ball, you just turn and throw it in the net. And I was like, I can do that. You know, if you put 3 guys on me, I'll still catch the ball and throw it. But that's really it. Like archery, maybe shoot, maybe archery, possibly shooting. But otherwise, you watch table tennis, the spin, the amount of movement, tennis.
So the pace of the game,
it's
hard to track the ball watching TV, yet alone actually being at the table and playing. And like you said, adjusting to the spins. The ball's not bouncing right to your chest. It's literally your entire wingspan and everywhere in between, high, low, barely clipping the table. Yes, it's barely going over the net. Like, nah, it's different. It's different. It's just different.
That's what I love. And there's Anthony Edwards,
yeah.
who, at the outset of the Olympics, said he wanted to play somebody on the table tennis team. He thought he could score at least 1 point on them in a game to 21. And I know that's because when Ant was in college, there was a ping pong table somewhere in his hall.
You know it. Mm-hmm.
And so then he went out and was cheering on Lily Zhang from Cal, who made it to the round of 16. And that's what we're talking about. We're talking about I think the good natured back and forth that you see from so many Olympians, whether it's crossing over national team borders, like with you mentioned Suni, Jordan, and Simone, Rebecca Andrade from Brazil.
Yeah, you got to salute for the story. Yes,
that story, that photo of Suni and Simone on the podium with Rebecca is so cool, because everybody in the comments is right. Simone is the best we've ever seen at gymnastics. I loved watching gymnastics because it would be on and we had the antenna. So on Sundays, I was like, I want to watch sports. Gymnastics is on. I'm gonna watch gymnastics. If you watch the vault from '96 and you watch the vault from this year, it looks like it's completely different species of people. Like the technicality
yes,
is different. It's just so much different. And they mentioned the fact that gymnasts used to be done by the time they were 19. Simone is 27 now.
Mm-hmm.
Like the age has gotten older for these athletes, and they're still doing things that we couldn't have even dreamt about when the Olympics was in Atlanta. Like there's so many sports that I've watched. Women's boxing has some really cool stuff.
The women's rugby national team. And the way that they won, dog. I don't know what I'm watching when I'm watching rugby.
Rugby is cold, bro.
But I knew that was like a Game 7 buzzer beater against all the odds after coming back from down like 40 in the fourth quarter. Like that's the type of magnitude that they were up against. It's insane. It's insane. Rugby, and shout out David for speaking to Rebecca Andrade's just superhuman type of redemption story coming back from multiple ACL injuries. As a gymnast, just to be able to even get back on the mat and attempt to do flips after that many significant lower extremity injuries, you have to salute. You have to, because most people don't even want to run after an injury like that, yet alone get back to putting their life in danger by competing in a sport that puts the demands on your body that being a gymnast does. And she was competing in every context of being a gymnast, the floor, the beam, and everywhere in between. You gotta respect it. You gotta respect it. If I could give her a hug, I really wanted to, because I felt like a proud little brother watching her, get back to that gold medal standard that she had established prior to. It's just special. It's special. Mind you, also, and the other thing I want to point out in context, you see Rebecca with Jordan or with Simone and Sonny, that's just generally speaking, a ton of brown and melanin skin up there on that podium. And that is absolutely beautiful to see in a sport that didn't necessarily ingratiate and integrate colored women as easily as other sports have. I'll say that lightly, and I'll allow for anybody listening to go do their research on that. To see that transition, and just to see how dominant melanin has become in that particular context of competing in the Olympics compared to what it was 4, 8, 12 iterations ago. Special, just special.
Sonny Lee, the first Olympian of Hmong descent. Simone Biles, we know what she's done, and Rebecca. Everybody's got a story, right? Like if you know Simone, you know her story of how she ended up with her parents, and Rebecca. They talked about it, and let's be clear. I want to be clear on this. What Rebecca had to go through just to get to the gym for training, nobody should have to deal with. She shouldn't have had to deal with it. Her parents shouldn't have had to deal with it. That's something that the country of Brazil has to address, that they can balance out their income inequality. But the fact that she and her family were that committed and enabled her to get to where she is, and as David and you said, through the 3 ACL tears to get to this point, that's why I loved seeing that up on the podium, because I think that there's competition when we think about athletics. You want to be the best, so you're going to be competitive. But everything I've seen, whether it's in the pool with Ledecky, with Katie Douglas, has been, once the race is over, they're like, yo, we know how hard we know how hard we worked for this. So congratulations to you. Y'all did that. Y'all did that thing. That Leon Marchand win, first Olympian to get 2 golds, Frenchman. It's been so good. This is the best of the Olympics.
Yeah, but
outside of the controversy in boxing, which I hope people are figuring out what the deal is, we've seen the best of the Olympics.
How about this dude?
Oh, my man here.
The Turkish
from Turkey. And a friend of mine.
No special glasses or anything. Hand in the pocket. Looking kind of like Carm.
You got to ask Carm if he's as good of a shot.
Well, Braggs posted the picture and said it was Carm. And one of Braggs' followers actually did some sort of thing where he put Carm's face on this guy, and it looked like crazy. It's like Carm doing this. So, but
I did see a friend of mine post on Facebook, and I would only be able to send the photo in, but the Turkish Yusuf Gikech, who's the 52-year-old from Turkey, his partner in the shooting events is Seval İlayda Tarhan. Same shot, same shirt, same glasses, same pose with the hand in the pocket. And she's 24 years old. And my friend made the point that she's younger, but she finished ahead of him at the national championships, and the fact that he got there is because of her. She was there because of him too. So it was a partnership in that. And that's something that, the way that the media cycle works, you're not able to see. And that's a cool thing for the Olympics too. Yeah. We didn't even get to talk that much about soccer or swimming or even track and field. But this is why I love the Olympics, man.
Well,
because
that's still going on. And as our chat alerted us, Mal Swanson and the U.S. women's national soccer team, they're on their way to the gold medal game. They just beat Germany, so that's cool. And the track is, I've been sort of getting into that now. That's kind of just still going, right? So we'll see how that turns out. I know we got what's her name, Gabby Thomas, right? She's running the 200, yep. I believe. And did you see last night that the dude Mondo Duplantis, the Swedish pole vaulter?
Oh, sorry, I've only heard the one pole vaulting story, so I missed that one. I got to follow that up.
He's Swedish, but he grew up in like Lafayette, Louisiana. Went to LSU. His mom is of Swedish heritage, so he's went to that Olympic team. But he broke a world record. He's got I don't know how the U.S. let him slip away, man. He's just like got like the last 8 world records are all his. Like he just keeps boosting it up. So
that's what happens, man. Like I think it's really cool and interesting because we recognize how many people are multicultural, have heritage from so many different places. There was a swimmer in the 800 named Sarah Curtis, and she was Black, had black braids, and she was representing Italy. And you think about that with Tamika Catchings, Kobe Bryant, so many players who got their parents got Italian citizenship to play overseas, and then they could have reasonably played with Italy, knew Italian. There was a runner who had a very American name, but he grew up in Italy. Like he spoke Italian. That was his first language. And this dude looked like any dude I'd ever seen growing up. And that's what you get when you see the Olympics. There was a swimmer for France who was Kirpichnikova. Like her family's Russian, but she grew up in France. I mean, you think about Suni Lee, like she's second generation, I think, but grew up in St. Paul. Her parents are from Southeast Asia. So it just depends on, ideally, where your focus lies, who you want to represent, and then secondarily, like you say, sometimes countries just like overlook, let people slip through the cracks. I always go back to the story of Giannis and his family growing up in Greece, which is the shitty part, where until they figured out that he and his brothers were good at basketball, they were like, y'all are Nigerian living in Greece. And then they were like, well, you're Greek citizens, which is what comes up on the bad side of things. But when you see the Olympics and you see people, you're like, man, how they're from here. They look like me. They look like my friend. It just makes you invested. It makes you more invested. It really makes you more invested.
You're saying, what was the event you said you want to do next?
Either handball or shooting. Okay,
well, first of all, handball is a sport that we in America should probably be embracing, because it's like someone on Twitter was saying how it's like soccer, but much more fast paced and high scoring, because obviously you could use your hands, and hands work better than feet as far as getting a ball to where you want it to go. And America has no game in that. And you just watch these countries, like the Eastern European countries and whoever else. It's like, damn, these dudes are awesome. But yeah, if you wanted to do that, you just got to figure out, you got to work on your game, but then find a country that maybe doesn't have anyone in that event and see if you can find some DNA deep inside there, right? That's maybe from that country, and then get citizenship. And we could see Chris Pennant at the 2028 Olympics, not just in the fan zone at Venice Beach.
My best friend already called me. He called me 2 days ago. He's like, handball's coming up, and we got 4 years until the Olympic trials. So I was like, we probably got 2.5. He's like, we got time. So we're gunning to try out for the U.S. handball team the next time it comes around. We probably have to go through qualifying to get there because it's usually, I think, Hungary and Poland and Sweden are like the best at those.
Yeah.
When I went out and practiced with those guys, there were a lot of Lithuanian guys. There was a dude from, I think, Cambodia or Vietnam who was out there who was telling me it's like, because they warm up by playing handball, basketball. And that's why I was like, man, I haven't played on a 94-foot court in a while.
Right.
You had to run. And he was like, we're not going to jog. We're not going to jog laps. This is our warm up for drills and the practice. But it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. Once you get into the rhythm, it's like playing ball, man. It's just like you said, it's like playing ball or soccer or even, honestly, it had a little bit of a roller hockey feel.
Okay.
To it too, just in the way that you pass and they're like setting up around the goal. It was cool. I love handball.
I always like water polo too, because that's it's sort of a similar thing, right? It's like soccer but in water, right?
They're savage though.
Yes. So my brother played in high school, and he'd come home with the like scratches on his legs because underwater they're just like kicking and grabbing with their legs.
Gouging, yup. Yeah. They go crazy. And I know it was women's too, because my high school, St. Ignatius, they were good. Men's and women's water polo was really solid. And I asked people, I was like, what was this like? And they're like, yeah, you're kicking them, they're kicking you. You're like trying to beat them off the whole time underneath the water while you're treading water. Because if your feet touch the ground, then you're out. Yes. You cannot touch the bottom of the pool. So this whole time, they're either swimming forward, swimming back, or treading water, passing this ball around.
It's a wild sport.
Yeah, nobody asked you like what's the sport you want to play the least at the Olympics, but it would probably be water polo or marathon. There's no way. Kevin, maybe we can get Kevin to be on the Olympic marathon team.
I mean, maybe
he ran the marathon.
Yeah, I know, but like, did he run it well?
Well, put him in the what is it? There's the mixed race walking relay. How about that?
There you go. Hey, before we bounce, do you want to talk about Angel Reese at Lala?
Oh yeah, because this is like the epitome of. I talked a couple shows ago about hoping that the Sky players got to experience Summertime Shy, and then you have Angel Reese on the big screen at Lollapalooza.
Summertime Shy.
That is the epitome of Summertime Shy. I know so many people from the city and from outside the city who came in for their first time or their 10th time. And I mean, look at that. That's like, I think that's so many people's dreams. Like, you got on the big screen at Lollapalooza. Was that for Megan Thee Stallion?
Yes, that was there is Megan Thee Stallion. Yeah. She jumped on stage.
Look at that. Angel Reese surprised Megan Thee Stallion. And Megan is surprised. She's like, "Oh my God, you came out!"
But the thing about that though is hold on, I'm going to show one more video. It's from I know CHGO Sports is the one that shared it, but it wasn't actually ours. But let's just show it anyway. What's that sound? Okay, yeah, she's going crazy. But so who else is on? Is that Dana?
I can't tell. It was so fast.
I know. She's on the side there. I couldn't tell who it is, but like,
I want to say it's not.
Okay.
It's hard to tell.
I was just like, who's gonna be?
Oh, Steven said that's Michaela.
Michaela. Oh, okay.
Michaela Onyenwere got on stage, and I, my guy that I was talking to about handball, he got the VIP backstage tickets. That's like the attainable dream.
Yeah.
This is like oh my God, like somebody let us in and we didn't tell the performing artist. How often does that happen? Where the surprise guest is actually a surprise guest.
Yeah, dude, just wild.
Again, I just did not understand how bright Angel's star was as more than just a basketball player when she was drafted. And everything that we've seen this year, it just purports to what kind of a cultural impact she has just being on this team and in this city.
Dude, she's like top 3 athletes in Chicago right now, and I don't know if she's third. I think she might be higher.
I mean, we talked about the other teams out there. It's like, I think in terms of the city impact, Caleb Williams is probably number 1.
Yeah.
I think Angel's number 2.
See, I would stump for Connor Bedard for the Blackhawks, but yeah, I mean, I don't know if he really translates because he's just this quiet kid who has like hardly much of a personality. You know, he wears a helmet and, you know, I'm not sure that he's really doing it.
Yeah, he's got the unfortunate issues of the helmet syndrome where nobody can necessarily see you like football. That was in the Broke documentary where football players would spend a bunch of money at the club because nobody could see them on the field. They didn't know who you were.
Yeah.
And so for people to know them, they had to put up bread at the club. I mean, for better or for worse, Bedard is not Patrick Kane and Jonathan Taze in their nation.
Not yet.
He's not. If he don't let him go out to the downtown Naperville like them boys used to. Man. Don't do that.
Well, hey, speaking of Blackhawks, I gotta get going on that show, so I'll let you guys say goodbye. I'll hop out of the way, but good to see everyone in the chat, and thanks for giving us a like and all that.
Sincerely, one more time, everybody in the chat, thanks for joining us. David, the Giggities, the new Chris P, Melissa, the homie, Erica L. Day, of course, Region Rev, everybody who came on with us, and Lawrence on the Wheels of Steel. Steven, you got anything cooking up as we come back to the second half of the season? We'll be back with you next week, by the way. Same bat time, same bat Tuesday afternoon. Steven, what you got coming up?
Yeah, I have a Kennedy Carter piece coming over the next handful of days. Also, I'll be diving into the individual players, Rachel Banham and Mariah Jefferson, and just kind of speaking to how I think there's a context shift with the Chicago Sky that's going to take place in terms of style of play and how things look. Going into this home stretch of the regular season, I think we will be seeing a little bit more pick and roll than we saw prior to the exodus of Marina Mabry. And I think that's going to put Mariah in a position to play more to her strengths, as well as Kennedy Carter, who spoke to me and said that she's very much enjoyed playing pick and roll. I think that's going to be a shift we see in this latter stretch, and it's going to put players in different positions. So, I'll be speaking to all that over the coming days on the CHGO site, but also on my YouTube channel, which you can see right below my face here, Stephen PridGeon-Garner 3. Tap in with me there. I have a lot of W talk, generally speaking, coming over the next handful of days before play picks back up. So, yeah, tap in with me over there.
And the number 3 is for the number of touchdowns he's throwing every single time he steps on the field. Y'all understand that. That's the man, Stephen PridGeon-Garner. Follow him on Twitter. Follow the show on Twitter, as always, at StateUS.3. The show is at CHGO_Sky and CHGO_Sports. I'm Chris Pennant at Quandary Kitten. That's KWANDARY Kitten. And our producer is Law on the Draw. This has been the CHGO Sky Show. For everybody out there, for everybody at home, be good, do great things, and keep your head all the way above the clouds. We'll see you next time.
We all silly like the mayor.